Hey everyone, and welcome to your public versus private member variable tutorial on C#. As you can see, I have Visual Studio pulled up here with our boilerplate code ready to go. So we're going to be talking about public and private member variables. Now, in order to better maybe visualize what I'm talking about, let's create a class. So we're going to create a class called person, as we did in a previous tutorial. And as we did before, I'm going to create a string called first name, create a string called last name, and I'll create an integer. Oops, forgot the semicolon on that one. And I'll create an integer called age. Okay. So in our class person, we have 3 member variables. So whenever a variable is inside of a class in this way, it's called a member variable. The variable is a member of that class. So anytime we create a person object, that person object will get a first name, last name, and age. So now we can talk about public and private. Public and private keywords are both access modifiers. Access modifiers set the accessibility level of a type or type member. And so all types and all type members have some type of accessibility level. So the 2 that we're going to be talking about are public and private. Public means that the type or member is accessible outside of the scope of the class. And private means that the type or member is only accessible inside the scope of the class. There are other types of access modifiers. We'll be talking about another one later called protected, but right now I'd like to just focus on public and private because they're the most common. So just to illustrate a little bit further how public and private work, let's go down to our person class and let's declare our first name public, our last name private. Maybe we want to keep the last name secret, and we will keep our age public. So when we go and we create a person variable, we'll call it Pete. We'll say it's equal to a new person object. When we do Pete dot, it'll fill in all of we have a list here of all of our members that we have access to. And so as you can see, age and first name are in this list. C# also gives us some other default members that we can access. But as far as the members we created, age and first name are there because they are public. So I can choose first name and I can set it to Peter. And I can go and I can choose age and I can set it to 33. But if I want to access last name, I don't have the option to access last name. And I can't do that because it is private. It is private. So if I change last name to be public and I go back over here, and I type in Pete dot, and you can see now last name shows up in our list because now last name is public. And so all public means is that your member variable can be accessed outside the scope of the class. And remember, the scope are these curly braces. If we make this last name private, we can no longer access that in our scope, outside of our scope, We can only access it inside of our scope of our class. So that's sort of the very basic explanation of the public access modifier and the private access modifier and how they work with objects. Thanks.